Yeah. Yeah, he brought his SWAT team in.
So it was good though.
It was a good meeting.
Good.
It was a good meeting.
Good for us.
Yeah, good for us. Spoke our piece, what we wanted, what we were hoping to see.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it was good.
Even if it's only 20 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. Our future needs us, right?
Yeah.
Father Walker, you wanna go ahead and give the prayer?
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Heavenly Father, we stand for a moment to reflect upon you. Heavenly Father, we give thanks and praise for everyone's presence, for all the talent, the ability, and the gifts which are represented. We ask you to help all to use those for your glory and for your honor. We give thanks for this past weekend in which we honored our country and the many freedoms that we enjoy as a people, and to give thanks for our great country, not perfect, but in the process of being made perfect by everyone being involved in that process. Help us all to contribute, to be part of the process, and again, most especially when the time comes to go out and vote, to let our consciences be known. We pray now the prayer that you have given us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and call to order the meeting, and I'll stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call tonight. Mark McAfee. Here. Jason Green.
Here.
Kenny Hart.
Present.
Brandon Carrigal.
Here.
Attorney Stephen Peterroll.
Present.
Mayor Ader present. Got a chance to look over the minutes from last month's meeting. I'll ask someone to make a motion to approve the minutes as they've been presented. Actually, for the last 2 months, of June 10th and the regular May 13th meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Danny.
I have a
Second by
question
Jason.
on that, Mayor.
Yes.
Which is that one street you want to make into one-way? I don't think maybe that was clear on it.
The one in front of, well, just north on the square there, it's called Square Street.
Public Square Street.
Public Square Street, yes.
Is that the corner cafe?
No, it's between the church and the fountain there,
Oh, okay.
that little bitty street there. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All in favor? Do you have a copy of that ordinance?
I emailed it to you.
Yeah. My phone's in the office, I can go get it real quick. But we'll do it next month.
Okay.
Alright, my bad. Okay, under new business, bid openings for the streets. Trey, you wanna handle that? Sure. Let's see here. This is the park improvements. There's the streets. No, I can record it for you. So, see here, yes.
is from Flynn and Sons Excavating. Check it to make sure all these forms. Let's see, so the total base bid is $1,121,838. 25 cents.
1,121,838.25.
Yep.
Okay.
Everything looks like it's there, so. Let's check those off. Next one is from Milestone. And they have a total base bid of $1,249,092 and 90 cents.
$1,249,092.90.
I think they got it.
All the forms too.
Okay.
Plain and Sons had all the forms.
Yeah.
This is Calcar Paving.
Kenese Construction, Calcar Paving.
Total base bid, $1,245,788.05.
And whose bid was that?
Kenese.
You said Kenese?
Kenese and Calcar, yes. We got all the paperwork.
What was that total amount, Butch?
$1,245,788.05.
And the last one is from E&B Paving. Fit really good. Total base bid is $1,174,386.85.
So $1,174,386.85 from EMB paving.
We didn't have anything from Temple,
Mm.
All the forms.
We've got all the forms there.
Brian, on these paving projects, what's the extent, what depth are they going to, as far as, are they gonna grind it down?
They're milling, is it 2-inch mill, 1.5 mill?
Typically like inch and a half.
1.5 mill. There's 30 different streets that's gonna be done. I can't remember the mileage on that. Do you remember that, Bo, how many miles it was?
We do have a list of the ones that are priority, right?
Yep. And all the millings we will be keeping, the city will keep all the millings, so we're gonna be using those for different things, so backfill and stuff, or for fill. Instead of letting the contractors have all that. Any other questions? Okay. I asked someone to entertain a motion to take the bids under advisement, let Midwestern Engineers go over and, make sure everything is right on everything, even though we have it here, let them go through everything and then get back, and, I know we have until August 10th, I believe, to be in the contract with something we have to call a special meeting, but, nothing else, I can't remember what that, our next meeting is in August, but. So someone wants to entertain a motion to take these under advisement, and they get them checked out, we'll award the bid.
Make a motion.
Alright.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was there an engineer's estimate that could be shared at this time?
Yes, I do have an actual estimate. We had $1,910,841.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the bid opening for the green space. We have 3 bids submitted. One is ISI, which is Infrastructure Systems, Striegel Design, and Love Excavating.
First bid is, ISI.
Down the road.
Wait a second.
Bo, I'll send one down for you, you can write on it there.
And they have a total base bid of $660,000.
Who is this?
Infrastructure systems,
Oh, is it-
660,000.
Huh?
Yeah, 660,000 even. And all the forms appear to be there.
Okay.
The next bid is from Striegel Construction. And they have a base bid of $1,541,814.
What was that again?
$1,541,814. They have other forms. And the last bid is with Love Construction. Looks like they have a total of $689,500.
689,500.
Yep.
Any questions on these bids?
Did you say Love had all this one?
Yeah.
Need to get a motion, to, let Midwest Engineers inspect, make sure everything's proper, and then get back with us and we can award the bids. Have them check all the specifications and everything.
I'll make the motion.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda is fire department.
Chief?
Sorry, guys, I didn't get this out in your packets in time. I was waiting to get some more stuff. There's two pieces of paper, one that's paper stapled and one that's not. Let's discuss a few things. So basically just want to discuss a couple things, if I may. One of the things, there's two things on there. You're gonna see one with PPE, you're gonna see one with the hydraulics. The hydraulics is what I want to talk about first, and what that is, that's battery operated extrication gear, equipment. That's what we use to cut our cars up and things like that, get people out of accidents and stuff, and wrecks. I want to kind of go over a little bit what we have. Right now, our current extrication equipment is about 10 years plus old, okay? It's heavy. They rely on a power source, which is a pump, a heavy pump you gotta carry with it. We have hoses. They're about what, 25 foot, 50 foot hoses maybe. One of the things too is the unit itself has to be serviced every year. The equipment has to be serviced every year, the tools. You're looking about $125, $150 per tool. We have like 4 of them that have to be serviced. The pump is probably right around, I don't know, 175 maybe for each pump, and I think we have 2 pumps on that. And so basically what we're looking at, and it gives us limitations and basically how they're used. And what I mean by that is like where we can go with them. If we have a car down embankment, we have to carry the pump down there with the tools and hoses and pray our hoses reach. If not, we've had it before where a guy was standing on top of a hill, basically holding the pump so it wouldn't roll over. So, you know, we have those limitations. And right now, I know Montgomery and Shoals, they have battery operated equipment. And I guess they really like them, and they're really working well for them. One of the things too is, with the battery powered tools, they're more versatile. These are actually a little lighter tools we have, than what we have, I should say. And we can use multiple tools at once. With the hydraulic system, with the hose, you can only use one tool at one time. Even though you have hoses, you're pulling power from one to the other. So if we're using one tool, we need 2, we have to pull the other pump off and work with it. And it's usually on our other truck. So with these hydraulics, we can basically run multiple tools, as many as we need to, as what we have. You know, if these are purchased, there's gonna be some tools, and the one, basically, and they're not cheap. Stuff is not cheap. Things keeps going up every year. And I'm gonna show you a couple of pieces of stuff we cut off a car that our current tools would not cut through. Our pump shut off. Ethan has both of them. And one of them is 9 layers thick, and one of them's not even that thick. And I think on both of them, our equipment shut down. It only cut so far and would not cut all the way through. So basically what we're looking at a spreader, a ram, a cutters, and something called a combi tube. This combination tool, sorry. This combination tool has actually a cutter and spreader in both. So our plan was to get the cutter, spreader, and rams for our engine, and then our other one would be for engine 2. So our primary truck would have those 3. We have extra tips. Right now, the price tag for that is $48,828. But we're not gonna buy the batteries from this company because Ethan and Jamie Van Meter have worked out a thing with Airworks, which we can actually get our batteries for a total of $945. That's 6 batteries versus the 4 batteries they're gonna give us. So we're getting actually 2 extra batteries, plus we're getting a charge and everything, and instead of $27.80 on their price, Airworks is $945.
These are not refurb batteries.
No, they're DeWalt batteries. No, they're not. And when they cut on those cars, they were cutting and they hardly used a level. There was like what, five battery levels. They cut 3 or 4 cars that one day. And so if you take off the $27.80, that brings down to $46,048. And obviously you add the $945 back, we're looking at $46,993. We have researched it, we have looked over it. We feel like this is the way we should be going, only because, matter of fact, we had a car fire where they had a police chase with a van. If we had our extra case and battery, we could have popped the hood quicker to cut the battery on the car. It was still attached. So things like that, we can use it, it's versatile. We can actually, they're big enough and heavy enough and versatile to where we could pick something off somebody if we had to, in a quick situation. So if somebody's under a car, we could, we can actually talk to each other. The pump, you're kind of yelling and everything else, what's he saying? As soon as we get down with one, we gotta print a tool over there. He's gotta change it out, he's gotta put the cutters up to it. So then, we're losing time. I don't know if you guys checked that out, but that's amazing what they cut.
What kind of cars are there?
The black one's a BMW and the other one's a Subaru.
So,
Ours wouldn't cut the BMW, the pump overloaded and shut off.
and I know there's probably not a lot of those vehicles, but nowadays, the way the vehicles are being made, they're making them more and more safety so people, won't get injured. But the thing about it is, we just gotta get them out, in that point in time. If the door's jammed, we can't get them out, we gotta cut them out through the roof, the door, whatever we have to do.
And all that in time too, by the time we deploy a line-in set, to make a first cut on a car, we're probably 4 to 5 minutes versus 30 seconds with battery power.
So, and, that's, we thought about this, and they had 3, services come out. One was a Maltro, it was $69,000. Lifetime warranty on the equipment, you break it, they replace it. This is a 10-year warranty on it, you break it, they replace it, as long as it's used during emergency, which pretty much that's how it's gonna work. The other one was the Genesis. We didn't even get a quote on it because some of the guys really didn't like that. They felt like it didn't have enough power and things like that. We bought off this company before. So, it's something I want you guys to consider, think about. If it's things that we have to try to work on grants, we'll do our best, and look at those. I don't know where the funding's at. I'm just looking at moving forward on these situations.
Okay, thank you.
So the next one, real quick, is the paper about turnout gear. Last year, we 2023, I should say, we purchased 10 sets of turnout gear, 8 sets of full PPE, which was in compliance with the. We had 8 sets that were not compliant with the 10-year manufacture date, and we had to buy 2 sets to replace the members that came onto our department. Basically, what that plan shows, it may be a little confusing. I can talk to you more about it later. Is that's the next 10 years from here on out for a while. I think I basically have it, if I look at mine, 23 to, so the next set, basically wanted to buy again, and once we get all these sets done, the first 10 sets we bought won't be purchased again until 2033. So obviously 10. This next set I'm looking at is 5 years. We want to try to get them in October. They're about 100 days behind. So we figured it'd be in 2025 and so on. So by the time we get done at the end of this cycle of members with PPE gear, it's going to be, we'll buy our last 5 sets will be 2028. So we won't have to do anything until 2038, sorry. So we'll have a 5-year break before we have to turn right back around and start again. This is something that's never been presented to the council before. We have to have these. We have to stay NFPA compliant. They have to, make sure they stay within date. If not, and they get hurt, then it's on us.
What's the total price for the?
Well, that's the thing is I'm supposed to have my quotes. He hadn't had them to me yet. I think when we did the 10 sets, it was around 36,000. I think. This year we won't have to get all the full sets because we were able to get helmets ahead. That actually because we cut a price break on some of the stuff we bought, so we're able to buy a lot of the helmets ahead. So we're good there. Another thing too is I've got about 4 guys that really don't need the full heavy set. Some of my older officers that are still on, so they don't need to be going in. They need to stay out, but they still need to be protected. So those 4 sets are going to be cheaper. Yeah. But like I said, right now, the only thing we got to consider is there are times that they do get torn. If they can't be repaired, they have to be replaced. And if new members we get new members on and they don't fit what current up-to-date gear we have, we'll have to get something to fit them. So that's kinda like the projection we have there, so you guys have an idea. Hopefully next meeting, I'll have prices, even though the prices are probably gonna increase every year. But maybe I can give you an idea if it's 5 to 7%, 3 to 5%, I don't know.
And how many members we currently have again?
Right now, we have 28 members. And that's another thing too, we're really looking at our member situation, which we as officers are sitting down and we're gonna try to look and put into different categories. We have the ones that make it all the time, we have the ones that make it sometime, we have the ones that don't make it. So, and then we have the ones that are older, that have their gold cards, and which IVFA gold cards have been there 50+ years. So we're looking at categorize them as a full, basically, paid, reserved, and inactive reserve. So.
Well, that's one, I mean, when you're looking at spending $3,600 a person for turnout gear, that's one thing we need to look at is if they're not gonna be active, then.
No, I understand that, that's the thing too. And what stinks is, we have 28 members. We don't really get all 28 at the same time.
Well, you can't expect to get everyone, but if
we
you've got
won't.
some that don't ever show up, is it worth
Right,
going that
no, I
route?
understand that, yeah, and that's what we as officers are looking at as well. You know, we're looking at that situation. If we put them in an inactive reserve, yes, we still have to outfit them, because if it's a big event, they will be there. I've had members like that before show up. But yeah, it's something we really need to look into. So that's just food for thought on that.
Chief, you had anybody look into grant money for the extraction equipment?
We have looked at a couple things. I think we're gonna hit like the community foundation, things like that, different stuff we're gonna hit up, and try to get this quick. But there's, I think Ladies Auxiliary is working on a couple things too. They've had a couple grants already going in motion for other stuff. But yeah, that's the plan.
I will say this, I did go to one of the, demonstrations on this, and it is some pretty sweet equipment. I mean, it's not, you're not splurging to do something like this is a matter of saving lives, so I mean, it's something we do need to consider, and sooner than later. You can't put a price on a life, we're trying to save a life, so we need to definitely get with the community foundation. You're gonna have to try to see what other revenues we may have or something like that too. All right, thanks, Chief. Well, Vance, you've been waiting patiently here, I guess, you and your partner there. So, next item up is potential housing project that we've been talking about for a while. So I'm gonna let Vincent take care of that. The Sullivan Group.
Thank you. There's a lot of pages here, and we won't go through every single thing tonight. I'm sure we'll have some questions. Travis Vinsel with Sullivan Development, and Joe White, our partner, is here with me as well. What we wanted to do tonight is basically be able to answer any questions you might have and tell you a little bit more about what we're looking to do down on the industrial site on Oak Street.
You got extra copies?
Yes.
Would you want to go ahead and hand them out to the council members here too, please? Yeah. Thanks, Travis.
No, we don't have one.
What's that?
No, we don't have one. Thank you.
Get Jessica on this.
So, what we're looking to do is to purchase the site down on Oak Street, for a development of workforce housing. This is part of the Indiana Department of Housing and Neighborhood, Development, program administered through, the federal government, low-income housing tax credits. So we would apply for those credits to build 60 units, on the property. Those 60 units would serve individuals and families making less than 60% of the median area income, which is about $45,000 a year. They would pay rent, they would pay their utilities. It's not subsidized housing as in a voucher. It's housing at a discounted rate because of the federal government giving the state money that is put into the project. The project would be in that program for at least 15 years. So those rents and income limits would adjust every year. But really, we're talking about individuals that work in schools, restaurants, maintenance workers, that are working on a daily basis, but struggle to pay rent, childcare, car payments, those type of things. The project would be new, 2 and or 3-story construction apartments, 1s, 2s, and 3-bedroom units. So if you move to this slide here, which is sort of like a timeline, I'll sort of walk you through how we got to where we are today. Sullivan Development looks at potential projects that would meet the guidelines of the state and federal program. We identify communities that need housing and which would qualify for the point system that scores. For the last several years, the point system in Indiana has really favored large cities and Indianapolis in particular to get a lot of these type of projects where the housing demand was. In 2024 and 25, the QAP focuses on rural Indiana. And this is really a great opportunity for small cities and towns like Loogootee to get these kind of projects. We're still competing with other towns like Logansport and Kentland and English and Seymour and Sullivan, but some of those projects, those towns have gotten projects recently, so they won't score as well as Loogootee. Loogootee hasn't had one of these projects for a long time, nor has Martin County, so it scores very well. So we identified Loogootee and Martin County as a potential site. I live in Bloomington and easily can come down here, and started kicking around and seeing if I could find a site, and talked to the mayor on several occasions and Jessica on several occasions looking for sites, and identified 2 or 3 sites that potentially would work, and talked to the property owners about securing those sites. Some would produce only 20 to 30 units, some could handle 60 units, which we really felt was appropriate. So that takes us to number 6, which is where we're at tonight, which is we have to show the state that we can actually build this project if they award us the credits, which means 2 things we have to have in place from the city standpoint. That is zoning in place, and we have to have ability to control the site. We have to have a purchase agreement in place. We don't have to own the site, and there's a process by which the site would actually get transferred, but we have to show the state that we have a seller, the city, that has title, and we have a purchase agreement that could be executed that would allow us to buy the property and develop it if we are awarded the tax credits. That application that we need those things on is due at the end of July, and that will put us into a period where the state evaluates all the applications. Today they produced, 2 weeks ago, we had to tell the state if we thought we were going to submit an application. There were 44 applications across the state that were submitted. Last year, I think there were 13 or 14 projects awarded. So just the odds are pretty good, but it's not a for sure thing. The state will go through their process between now and November, at which point in time they will issue who got the awards of the tax credits. At that point in time, we will look at how do we actually acquire the land, doing the final design process, review of the site design through the public process, so that we'd be ready next spring to actually start construction on the units. And we're looking at about an 18-month build to build this type of unit. So it's still a long process to bring housing, but housing is greatly needed in Martin County and Loogootee, and we think this is a great opportunity. So that talks to you a little bit about the timeline.
I have a few questions. You presented earlier this spring that this type of housing had to be built within a certain matter of distance from the store.
Correct.
And all that.
Correct.
Where you're proposing to build, there is no grocery stores down there.
So again, this is for the whole state. We have to be within 1 mile of a grocery store, 1 mile of a post office, and there's a list of things, and we get points for each one of them. So this site does qualify for most of those points. It's sort of on the edge of town, yes, but it does qualify for most of those locational points that are necessary to build.
What kind of infrastructure needs to be in place?
We need sewer and water, which are both to the site. And then the rest of the site, drainage and those type of things will take place mostly on site. obviously using the system that already exists as well. And we'll look at making sure all those infrastructures are in place.
How many of these units will be handicap accessible?
So there's ADA requirements that, which is accessibility requirements, which will mean essentially all the first floor units will have to be ADA accessible, and some of the second floors will have to be convertible, which means the framing and everything has to be there, the doors have to be wide enough that if somebody wants one of those units and wants it to be converted to handicap with the full bars and everywhere, it's capable of doing that.
I think that's okay.
Sure. Next few slides are just some examples of projects that we have done or are working on to just show you examples. We're getting ready to break ground on a project in Winnemac, Indiana, just north of Logansport, which is very similar community to Loogootee. And so there's some pictures of that project in here. I then have a slide that talks about what those actual rents are and how the units will break down. So we would have 16 units that qualify at 30% AMI, which is about $23,000 max income a year for the household, and that rent would be at $437 a month. Then there'd be 50% units and 60% units, and you can see there are corresponding rents there of $800 and $1,000 per month. These rents that I put here are 2-bedroom apartments for a family of 4. There are restrictions on how many people can live in a unit. There are restrictions on family size, so all of these numbers shift a little bit. If you're a family of 2 and you want a 2-bedroom, there would be a different rate than a family of 4, but this gives you a pretty good example. As you can see there, $23,000 to $46,000 are people that are out working in our community every day and struggling to find quality housing. And this is a real great opportunity to bring quality housing to Loogootee. The other thing that's required as part of the process is that we leverage those federal monies with other monies that are not state or federal monies. So we have also applied for Ready 2.0 funds, and we will probably be looking for a pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes, to generate some taxes on the property or forego some of the property so that we can meet the qualifications of the community having buy-in on this type of project. With that, I'm happy to answer questions. Joe and I are both here. We've done these types of projects before. We're happy to answer questions, and we would just like your support as we move forward to allow the city to enter into a purchase agreement for us to purchase the property if we're successful in the tax credits, and to support a rezoning to R2 so that we can build the 60 units on the 5 acres.
Like your lawn maintenance and everything, you will.
We'll take care of that. We will have on-site maintenance and leasing person.
Okay, you have a manager on site.
Manager on site. They may not be there 40 hours a week. They may be there 25 to 30 hours a week. But we will have somebody on site on a daily basis.
That's what most of them are, 25, 30 hours
Yeah.
a week.
And you're looking to hire local for that job?
Yes,
And the lawn maintenance?
yes.
Okay.
Those two, on the second level floors, you say some of them are gonna be handicap ready.
Handicap
So are
ready.
these gonna have elevators in them?
No, they will not have elevators. Usually the individuals that want to live in those using have them accessible, stairs is not the issue. It's other disabilities that they would want to have those functions. In the
So these will be 2-story buildings,
2 or 3 story.
2 or 3?
Depending on what we get on the site. Yeah, we can do 3-story buildings without requiring elevators.
Okay.
But they have to be sprinkled.
They will be sprinkled,
Everything's
yes.
sprinkled.
Yeah.
Daycare center.
Yes, so as part of this project, we are looking to have a daycare center, child care services building on the property as well. It would not be inside the apartment building, it would be standalone. We are talking to a couple of providers that would provide those services, and that would be a long-term commitment as well. We might look for a not-for-profit or city to actually, after we built the building, manage or own the building. We're not in the daycare business, but we know that that's another real need in the community. And we also know that the way this system works with the state, we get extra points if we can do a daycare, so we are planning to construct a daycare, childcare services building on the site as well.
Will that be open to the public, or? is
Yes,
just
that would be
primary
open, that would be open to the larger community, anyone, again, that qualifies for those services.
Anybody in Martin County on that, be open to.
Well, even in theory, outside that,
Yeah, outside,
if
yeah.
somebody wanted to need a childcare and they live, somewhere outside the county or outside the city, and they were willing to bring their.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was something
Yeah.
just for that development.
No, it's not.
community
It's
or
open to the
entire
larger.
community.
Brian, they're gonna take the whole industrial park.
Yes,
We would take everything except
Um,
for the, animal,
yeah.
humane society
The
piece.
Humane Society will not be affected by it whatsoever.
So we're not gonna put a park down there now?
Well, we're getting to that point.
Okay.
We would like, So-
Jumping the gun.
The first, let me give a little history. First of all, we were looking at going somewhere else, and I actually had taken the property down there completely out of it because we wanted to put a park. Well, the other one fell through, so our only option was Plan B, was to go back to the industrial park. We've got 5.5 acres there. We could actually probably buy another half acre off of another property owner there. Get 6 acres, but, so anyway, part of this deal was if we get the housing in there, we still get a park. We may have, and we haven't worked all the particulars on that, we'd like to get a shelter house or two, and maybe, one developer said a pickleball court, tennis court or something like that, basketball court. But we wanna make sure that when this is being developed, that it does have access, that we have a park there on the east side of town, and it is accessible to everything. We have a privacy fence probably between the park and the actual development. So that's not no one's wandering off in any place like that. So,
What we typically do is, if we're successful in getting the award for the tax credits, at that point in time, we really dive into what our site plan looks like. We will have a requirement to have a playground as part of the apartment complex. That's a private playground. We don't control who goes in and out of it, but technically it's on private land. The daycare facility has to have a playground, but it has to be controlled by the daycare facility. So, there's lots of moving pieces here, and we've always been successful in working all those things out. We're open to lots of those discussions, but they really come after we find out if we were successful in getting the award, because that's the real funding mechanism that makes this work.
One more question.
yes,
You know how bad traffic is on Bloomfield Road, would that turn into a 4-way stop down there on North Oak and?
we probably have to take a look at doing something like that.
Because it's bad the way it is
It
now,
is.
and you know how people like to fly down that hill.
We
There's
may
gonna
have
be
to-
some accidents.
I don't know what we'd have to do on it, we'd have to do a traffic
Just
study on that
something to
with
look at.
SIDC or something, but we could get some numbers on that.
Mhm.
And it's probably gonna warrant something like that if it comes to fruition.
Okay.
So. Any other questions?
Well, Joe and I are here. We will be here at the next meeting as well. Our information is on there. You can call us. The mayor has my cell phone, so if you have any questions, please don't feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions.
Well, Travis, to get the purchase agreement and stuff like that, we gotta have all that in place by the end of the month.
Correct.
Okay, so what's our next step here then? You know more about this than any of us sitting up here.
So what we'll probably do, if I see nods here, then I'll produce a purchase agreement that I'll share with you, the mayor, and I'm assuming the city attorney, that will allow us to show that we have control of the site, from that. I've already ordered title work, because I like to know that who's signing the purchase agreement actually has the ability to sell the property if they sign it. So I've already ordered the title work, so the title work and a purchase agreement would show, that we have the ability to purchase the property. It will probably take a resolution from this board and the county council to actually transfer the deed, but that would take place sometime in the future on execution of the purchase agreement assuming that we got the tax credits, but
Yeah, everything's
That's
based
more
on, everything's based on the tax credit, getting
Yeah.
the tax credit, yes.
Wasn't there an alley there to get on the Brickyard Road, Brian, at one time? Am I-
On the backside?
There was
Yeah.
a time.
Yeah, on the backside, I think there is, by Birch's down there.
We could use that.
You're talking about underneath the railroad tracks?
No, no.
Farther.
Huh?
Jeff Pedro's.
Who is it?
There
I was
was,
thinking it was an
well,
alley
there
when
used
I
to,
was
there used to be a road that
Well,
ran
it used to be.
between, the Red Door
Yep.
off of, Brickyard
Brickyard
Road.
Road. I thought there
There
was.
that, but I believe that's been closed for
Oh,
a
it's
long
been
time.
closed?
Yes.
There's not a house or building on it now.
I'd
I
have to-
can't, I'm not down that way much,
You know, it's-
but Brandon said.
I think
that,
it's still open as far, but there's a fence and stuff up there, and I think it's all been closed.
Those were years ago.
So it's private property.
Yeah, it's private property.
That'd be nice if that was still available, you know, accessible, you can run out the Brickyard Road too.
Okay, anything else?
You say most likely, so that.
we'll,
Just
If I wanna
wanted to-
come back on the city, once we're into this, well, we need this amount of money to continue. We'll be sure we have that up front.
yeah, we will know up front.
Alright, just informational purposes, there'll be a special meeting for the Land Use Committee on July 18th, 2024, 6 p.m. That's basically on the rezoning. So that will be happening here. Next item on the agenda is utility adjustments.
Mayor, you said that meeting was at 6 again, or? was it
Yes,
second meeting? Okay, thank you.
6 p.m., July 18th.
Thank you.
Bo, are all these good to go on the utility adjustments?
Yes.
Okay.
There were some that were eliminated, they're not on here, they didn't qualify.
Got a lot of pools filled, okay. Ask a motion to approve the utility adjustments as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second by Mark, all in favor? Bo, you got any reports for your department?
98 service calls, 94 line locates, 282 calls to the office, 14.4 million gallons of water pumped, average of 470,000 gallons per day, 8.5 million gallons sold to Davis County Rural Water. So just kind of FYI, selling them water has been very beneficial to this community. And it's a very good income, little effort. Otherwise, rates probably be even higher than what they are. Wastewater treatment plant, we had 9.2 million gallons, 306,000 gallon per day average at 31% capacity for the month. For the yearly average, we're 57% capacity.
Our water sales about, correct me if I'm wrong, about 21%.
Our water sales,
To Davis County area, what we do sell out.
it's about half of what we produce.
Okay. I know the one report I saw was like, when they redid those bonds or whatever, it was over quite a bit.
It's went up quite a bit since it's hot and dry.
Okay,
I assume they've got several turkey barns hooked up to it.
okay, all right, thank you. Ask for a motion to adjourn.
Yeah. I'll make the motion.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, don't run out of here yet, need to have you guys sign this. Sign that, please.
Yeah.